Hello again, everyone. Welcome back. In this technical analysis of the stock market video, I titled it "About to Snap?" Because like a rubber band, when you stretch it too far and too long, it sometimes snaps. And you got to wonder if we're getting to that point here with the market. And I'll talk about that when we get looking at some of the indicators that we're looking at. I'm going to start off, we're going to do the side-by-side view like we normally do, and then we're going to focus on the Nasdaq 100 today, and the Nasdaq 100 ETF and the Russell 2000 ETF IWM. And then we'll look at the VIX, the McClellan Oscillator, and then check in with Microsoft and see how that stock is looking. All right, so here's the side-by-side with the Dow Industrials, the S&P 500, and the Nasdaq 100. The Dow was up 672 points, the S&P up 104, and the Nasdaq 100 up 501. Now, we've had a couple of very strong weeks in here. Look at the movement with the Dow. We're definitely rapidly approaching the high that was achieved in December. So we'll see how that develops. I'll talk a little bit about that when we get looking at IWM. Not quite so much, a little different picture here with the S&P 500 and definitely with the Nasdaq 100. You can see the 200-week moving averages here. You can see where everything is relative to that. And on the Nasdaq 100, it just did nothing but pull right back up to the 200-week moving average. It has been oscillating around it here for the last several months. Okay, so that is the picture. Let's take a look, drill down and take a look at the Nasdaq 100 on the daily and weekly. Okay, here's that weekly view that we were just looking at, and here's the daily view. And it's kind of interesting. I drew this line here today because it almost looks like a sideways type of head and shoulders consolidation pattern. You know, if we're moving in this direction, which we are, we're in a downtrend. The Nasdaq has been leading to the downside, especially the Nasdaq 100, all the major indices. It's been leading all the major indices down. And so now I've got to wonder, you know, do we have a right shoulder being developed in here? Now, we're not going to know until this thing rolls over a little bit, but notice how the 21 is kind of hard down in here and it's broken down below the 55. So we'll see whether that starts to get this to roll over. Now, this has been up for 6 strong days in a row. So they really are stretching this in here. Now the Elliott wave picture I've got is this. It hasn't changed. Here's the view on the daily. To me, we're in intermediate wave 3. We are in minor 3 of intermediate wave 3. And we've been enduring a little bit of a pullback here with minute wave 2. So within minor 3, we're looking for 5 waves down. And right now it looks to me like we've had 1 and 2, and it's kind of a flat, and we're definitely getting an extended C wave in here, there's no doubt. And we're 2 as a percent of wave 1. We're right in here, just slightly below 61.8% in terms of the pullback. So we're right in that zone. Could we continue to pull back a little bit more? We got a gap up in here. Yeah, that's totally possible. We'll watch and see. I mean, there's no rule that says it can't keep extending in terms of the pullback. But like I said, we've been up for 6 straight days in a row. I'm looking down at my notes. Let's take a look at the Qs, which are going to be the same picture, but it's the one we trade. So here's the picture on the Qs sitting at 280, let's see, 280.97 in the regular session. It moved around just fractionally in the aftermarket. So it's the same kind of thing. Let me see if the percentages should be the same relationship, 2 versus 1. Yeah, we're just shy of the 61.8% in terms of the move. So we're right in that kind of reversal zone, potential reversal zone in here. But again, we need to see it roll over and break down. It just hasn't done it yet. But this is what we're looking at and expecting this, this third wave to develop here fairly soon. Let's take a look at IWM on the Qs. There was up 1.92 on Friday and up 12.17 for the week. So again, strong week. All right, let's take a look at IWM. Okay, IWM was up 122 on Friday and 947 for the week. And again, had a very, very strong move for the week. It was the strongest of the major indices in terms of the pullback. And you can see it's been oscillating around that 200-week moving average. We've had a heck of a move in here over the last 2 weeks. And we'll see how much further this wants to go. When I look at the LE wave picture, yeah, it's interesting how it's broken out a little bit out of that downward trending channel that we had. But what I'm really watching is if this continues to pull back and breaks above this November 15th high, then we've got to move to an alternate count, because there's no way that you can have 1, 2 and have the wave 2 go beyond the beginning of wave 1. That just doesn't work. Okay, so we've got a very deep retracement. And I think the reason why we are on alert for this, for sure, is because we are well above the 78.6% retracement. Now, there's no rule that says, hey, we can't go to, up here 88.7 or so and then roll over. But whenever I get beyond 78.6, a little flag is going off, a little something's going off and trigger and saying, hey, be on alert, something else may be underway in here. So what else could be? Well, it could very well be that we are still doing intermediate wave 2. This is the other thing that I think about, and this could also develop on the Dow Industrials. Okay, I know in the Dow Industrials we thought the August high was intermediate wave 2, but given what it's doing and given what this is doing, we'll watch and see. I'm not moving to this. I'm not moving to this alternate count. Again, this is my alternate count. I'm not moving to this unless we take out the November 15th high. So right now, I continue to hold this. We are stretching the rubber band very, very far. All right, let's take a look at the VIX. The VIX continued to sell off, as you would expect, given what the market's been doing. It was down 48 cents on Friday at 1835. This is the lowest close, and this was what, June 13th, right? Or, sorry, not June, January 13th. This is the lowest close since January 12th of a year ago, 2022. So pretty interesting. We closed right down in this territory, actually lower. Where did it close? I'm just looking to see if it'll give it to me. I'm reading another window, 1762. And then all of a sudden we got the explosion to the upside and minute wave 3 and of minor wave 1 pushing down in January of last year. So we'll see, is this going to continue to bounce around down here, or are we about to reverse? Let's take a look at the McClellan Oscillator. Let me pull that up right here. Here's where we're sitting. We're sitting at, and I've got the number written down somewhere. Okay, we're sitting at plus 294.77, and the high on Thursday, the close, was plus 307. And that is there's only one other reading that was higher than that, and that was back over here on May 27th, I believe. Let me look back on my notes here. May 27th at plus 353. Now, this is really, really getting stretched, and this is what makes me think about stretching that rubber band and really pulling it hard. Let's take a look. I'm going to go back and take a look at the S&P 500. I'm going to pull that up. And here's where I'm putting that data in there. So the only other reading that was higher than this plus 307 was that plus 353 on May 27th, and here's where it occurred, okay? And then a few days later, we got this big collapse that ended the big move down in June. Now, here we are sitting again with this same kind of, extended reading in here. And similar to, a little bit different picture, but similar to what I'm seeing with the, as I pointed out on the Nasdaq 100, possible little head and shoulders consolidation type pattern. Let me pull this up over here. Let me show you the other thing I'm seeing. Let me go back and go back to the breadth. Okay, so these are readings that I record every day in terms of the breadth on the New York Stock Exchange. Advancing, declining, advances as a percent of the total of advancing and declining, and a 10-day moving average of it. So when you can see right here, we're getting pretty extended on the 10-day moving average, and it's very similar to what happened back over here at the end of July, beginning of August, okay, in terms of that kind of reading on a 10-day moving average right in here. Now we had 11 more days until we got to the peak. So yeah, we continued pushing a little bit higher, but here we are with that kind of extended breadth reading, and we've got the stretching of the McClellan Oscillator equivalent to what we did right here on May 27th. Okay, so pretty interesting kind of alignment with things right now. So just keeping an eye on the market and the price action for watching out for a reversal. Okay, let's take a look at Microsoft and see what it's doing. Okay, here's a weekly view on Microsoft. It was up $14.30 for this last week. Pretty strong move, an inside up type candle, but you could see we came down the previous week right to that 200-week moving average in here. Here's the March 2020 low, so it's quite a ways above that. We'll see how soon does it start to break down below the 200-week moving average and start moving towards the March 2020 low. I've talked about the FANG stocks before, just briefly. We talk about how these others are aligned and where they've lined up in terms of their 200-week and being down near the March 2020 lows. 3 out of the 6 have gone right to it and or below it. The others seem to be on their way, and here's like Google getting down below that 200-week. Of course, the big laggard is Apple. We'll see how long that takes to fall in line too. But right now, here's the picture on Microsoft, and it's been up for 6 days in a row also. On Friday, what was it up on Friday? Let me see here. Up 72 cents on Friday. A slight little move in here. And when I look at the Elliott wave picture, pretty similar in terms of the wave count. You know, I think we're in a minor wave 3 to the downside within intermediate wave 3. Yeah, we've had this counter trend. Now the real test is going to be, is this all we're going to get in here? Or are we going to continue to push higher? I think if we push above this January 3rd high, then I've got to sit back and say, could something else be going on? But right now, I'm leaning into this picture that we are definitely working our way south and expecting this to run out of steam and roll back over. We've closed the gap in here with this move that occurred, and maybe that's all we're going to get, and it comes back down. All right, so that's the picture that we've got. That's what we're watching for over here on Microsoft. Trying to look at my notes to see if there was anything else. I think that's it. Let me just go back to the moving average view, and we'll leave it there. Okay, if you felt like the video was helpful, give it a thumbs up. If you're not a subscriber to this YouTube channel, hit that little subscriber button. And if you'd like more of this information on a regular basis, head on over to joehenches.net. Check out the website, check out the membership. Everyone have a great week. We'll talk to you on the next video.